So now we have added our table into database. Now time to add authentication related business logic. So for this, we'll add a new controller called Authentication Controller. This will be an API controller. So come to your Solution Explorer, come to Controllers folder and add a controller. So as I said, I want a API controller, so add an API controller. So my controller is added now. So now here we'll inject 4 things. User manager for adding user related methods, role manager for this will help in future for adding roles, and iConfiguration, this for app setting.json configuration keys, and appdb context for connecting with database roles. So now I will add the dependencies. Now I will add these dependencies into my constructor. So you can see my dependencies are added now. Now jump into appsettings.json. Here we'll add some more keys for JWT token. So for the JWT token, you require 3 fields. First is secret key, which is helpful for generating key. Audience, you can set your audience, and issuer will be your URL, bootstrap URL, so that you can easily check from your project properties, or you can run your particular application and you can see what is your bootstrap URL. So for us, we have this particular URL. So I'm just copying this and you can paste it here. So your issuer is also done. Now jump into program.cs. Here you have to add 2 more things into your middleware. One is app.authorization and one is app.useAuthentication, because here you want to perform authentication as well. So first we'll do authentication, then we'll go for the authorization. Now time to add new method into authentication controller. So open your authentication controller and here we'll add a new method which is called register user. So this I want to make it as post method. So for this I required register VM view model. So register VM view model will be responsible for first name, last name, email, username and password. So these things I will pass from my parameter. So I can pass it from my Postman or Swagger or my any Angular application as well. So here we'll add view model into the data folder. And here we'll add a new class called register VM. Now we need some data annotation because some fields are very much required in the parameters like email address, username and password. Without that we are not going to give permission for the insertion. So that's what our register VM is also created. And here I will add the dependencies on the namespace side. Now we are ready to go for the coding. So in the first step, we'll check model is valid or not. If not, we'll show a bad request message. So as you know, whatever we have created into the register VM for the required fields like email, password and username. So if user is not able to fill these things, then we will redirect it for the bad request. For the next step, what I'm going to do is we are going to search if this particular user is already exist. We will not give them permission to insert this particular user. So you can see here we are using find by name async. So this is the part of your identity framework method. So if I click on the F12, you can see this will redirect me into the identity framework, and this is the benefit to use identity framework into the code. So you can see find name async, and this is the part of your user manager, and which is the part of your ASP.NET Core identity. So this particular method automatically will check if this particular email address and user related data is exist. So this will make you a bad request, which is user is already exist. If will pass from these two conditions, we will give them permission to insert. So now in the next step, if we pass two conditions, this will add new user instance where I am adding the first name, last name, username, email, security, and custom. And then we'll call create async method, which is again a part of your identity framework only, and this will automatically check your password is secured and strength, email is proper or not. So these are the things it will check automatically, and if everything is proper, it will give you true property message into your succeeded property, and then this will give you user is created message. If succeeded comes as false, this will redirect to a bad request. So now time to run this particular method. So you can see Swagger is open now, and from here we have this register VM. So I will click on the tryout button, and here we'll type the name. And the password. Now I'm clicking on the execute button, and this will take me here. So this is coming to my find name async method, and this will check here this particular email address is already exist into database or not. So it's not there, and we'll come directly here. So it's added the instance. So you can see all related things are added here, and then you can see it gives you an error, and this is very good thing because from the identity framework you no need to write code. So you can see password must have at least one uppercase. So these are the rules and regulation automatically comes by create async method. So you don't need to do. If you are thinking to write your own code, you can write your own method. You can create your own repository where you can call this type of thing, and you can pass your new user things and password. So you can write your own things, but as of now we are using identity framework, so we are getting the success message as false because we are not using a capital letter in our password. One capital letter it should be. So this will be redirect to my user is not created. So what I will do, I will write it properly, and again click on the execute method, and this time if you see I'm getting the succeeded message. So my succeeded is true now, and if I will run it again, so in the response you can see I am getting a user is created. So my response is successful and I am getting a success code as 200, which is very good in web API concept. And suppose if user click on again, suppose submit, he is going to be click, so it will not add your things because it is already there. So you can see it's a duplicate. So you can see duplicate username John is already taken. So this is the beauty of identity framework. In the create async method, they have written everything, all the business logic which is required. So you don't need to worry about that. But if you need some custom kind of thing, you can write your own. So your adding users is done. Now come to the database. Here we'll see table is added or not. So you can see my user is created now, just John Corner. So this way you can register your user very easily.